Well, if this wasn't just one of my favorite series of the entire split so far, we have Rusty's 95 of Team BSK scoring early here in game 4 to get us on the board against Team Vitality on the other side. It was a slow day at work. I had my phone in my lap like a sneaky little boy, and I knew as soon as I got home I wanted to rewatch this one in full and talk about it because not only was equal parts very surprising and also not surprising at all. Where this Vitality team are just so frustrating, where I still think they're the second best team in the world, but they just have these series where it's like, do you guys am I the fool, or are you guys tricking me, or are you tricking yourselves? Really is like what it is. Where and credit, of course, before the caveat, credit to BSK, who delivered a huge series here. They were all over them. They made Vitality very uncomfortable, but Vitality also make themselves very uncomfortable. And I was thinking when I was watching this series about this concept that there's this author Malcolm Gladwell, and he has this book, and one of the articles that he writes in this book is it's called like The Art of Failure or something like that, and it talks about how in like massive sporting moments, how there's a difference between choking and panicking, and this series was an encapsulation of that for both of these teams, where BDS were choking in the middle of this series. Early, BSK are like getting just totally run over. And late in this game, we're going to watch game 7 here in a little bit. Um, but in the middle of this series where BSK really start to like warm up and find their footing, as Rusty's is just freestyling here in the middle as he's going to fall off of that ball. And it's probably important for me. I'm getting too tripped up on myself here, but the difference between choking and panicking is choking is thinking too much, right? Big moment, you're at the free throw line. Oh man, it's a free throw. I've taken 10,000 of these in my life. I got to make this. So okay, let me think this through. I need to dribble the ball twice, and then I got to bend my knees, and then I got to extend the shot to here, and then watch it go into the net. You overthink it. You get too far in your head. And panicking is the opposite. You're rushing, you're not thinking, you're thinking too little. And that was how I felt about these two teams. Vitality just like choke, where they have this one speed that they're so good at, right? When we watch Vitality really hum, the thing that makes me think they're the second best team in the world, they're fast, they're clinical, they're orchestrated. They are doing exactly what you want them to do. It's composed, it's methodical, it's clean. And when they're not on that speed, when a team like BSK really mucks it up for them on the other end, they look really vulnerable. It's the same thing that happened in that Ultimate series at the Birmingham Major, where Vitality go up 2-0, and it's like, man, I mean, the offense is coming so easy to them. Zen is all over it. Monkey Moon is quarterbacking here, where the offense is flowing through him. Fakes on the ball, he's setting it up, he's getting big saves defensively, and he's working them out from the other end. And then on the offensive side in the box, he's kind of finding these perfect layoffs, and Exotik is really aggressive offensively, and he's kind of finding his shots within the flow of the offense. And then Team Ultimates muck it up. They get physical, they slow it down, they start to counter, and Vitality just gets so in their heads. And the same kind of thing was happening in this series. Is we're gonna get one laced into the bottom corner here, as we want to talk about a little bit of panic. This one's probably not gonna go the way that BSK are gonna want it here, as they're up 2-1 with about a minute to go here. But Zen is still, and we're going to get to BSK here in a little bit, don't worry. Zen is still the best player on Vitality, in my opinion. I don't think that that's too crazy to say for somebody who is pretty clearly like this. Vitality have their struggles. Zen has struggled within the flow of Vitality, but he's still the second best player in the world. Like the talent is undoubtable. Some of the shots and goals that he's able to put away, you're just like, I mean, what are we even doing here? But he's standout offensively. In game three, he had two huge passes to open things up for Monkey Moon. One of them was this like off the ceiling double touch, like down, like in stride to Monkey Moon. It's like, okay, I guess that's just, that's a goal 100 times out of 100 there. And we were talking about panicking. Let's lock in for the last couple seconds here as Rusty's. Oh, oh. And then Monkey Moon's gonna turn off of this ball. I think he kind of miscom there with Exotik, and then this overtime is gonna be pretty quick too. So let me not get back on my high horse here as Rusty's is gonna get faked out of his sneakers, and Zen with the air dribble bump, almost a save, but Zen's gonna put that one away too. Is not gonna let this one slide away from them as Zen is gonna go almost 700 points on 6 shots here. Let's hop over to our next game. Let's go to game 6 here. Classic Neo Tokyo. And talk a little bit more about Zen and the offense. And then pay the flowers to BSK that they deserve. Neo Tokyo mozzarella point of view. God, I'm hungry. I need to eat some dinner. We're talking about Zen. So let's wrap it up here. Where I just... The thing is, like, Zen is a microwave scorer. He'll have these moments where it's like unbelievable assist to unbelievable assist, or laser strike to incredible high mech laser double touch. Like Zen just has these minute 90-second stretches where it's like, oh my god, like, we're just gonna call it right there. And I really walked away from this series feeling nervous about Monkey Moon and honestly a little like concerned for what this team is currently constructed with Exotik. Of course, like all of this comes with they get a massive leash. We have to give them a ton of rope because they're the world champions, where like they could just turn it on tomorrow and it's like, okay, well, all of that was stupid. But for Monkey Moon, he was quarterbacking early. Like when BSK were struggling out of the gates, that was in a big way because of Monkey Moon kind of facilitating, and his ability to like fake off the ball to like collect easy touches for his team was huge. I mean, we see a setup there as Zen is going to send a comet at the net, but Pisky is right there to get the save, and that was orchestrated by Monkey Moon up here once again. But that's just a turnover there. And Monkey Moon kind of comes and goes, where it was the first time, like when he was the best in the world, it was because of how consistent he was, how easy he made it look. And in this game, there were these moments where it's just like, oh, that's not good for Monkey. I mean, there's one right there. Rusty's doesn't have enough to put it away, but that's just like a loose touch with no momentum in the box from Monkey Moon that puts them in a compromised position. And he had a couple of those in game 2 as well, where like late in the game, there's this opportunity to kind of, there's a good offensive attack that's kind of, fleshed itself out, and Monkey Moon is just gonna like side flip away from the ball, and that kind of kills that one there. There's gonna be a moment, I think it's later in this game, where he's just gonna totally kill the momentum of this like play deep in the game where they could have made something out of it. And is he actually the one who's gonna facilitate this pass over? Is Mozzarella, oopsies, just going to hand that one over to Monkey Moon. I mean, right there's like an air dribble bump. Monkey Moon does so much orchestration like that it really works, but there's these long stretches. Like I think I put in my notes in like game 5 where I was just like, I kind of forgot, like I don't have a single note for Monkey Moon from that game. And I've been watching, by the way, from Crowdcam. I watched the entire event from Crowdcam. I think it's my preferred way of watching now, just to like go back and talk about things, especially when I'm in NBA playoffs mode, where it's just like it's easier for my eyes to be like, yes, this is like the view is very basketball-esque. But I digress. There's these long periods where it's like, is Monkey Moon like here? And the final player here is Exotik, where look at Rusty's. Oh my goodness. Let's hold on to Exotik for a second here. Rusty's over to the corner. Just has them completely shook. Look at how much respect Zen is giving. Pissy's going to keep it alive, and then the aggressive positioning from Mozzarella is going to put them up here. And by the way, this is a 3-2 series lead for Vitality. So this is a closeout opportunity here for Vitality. And despite that, BSK look way more loose, especially Rusty's on the ball. Exotik, I just this is not a good series from him. Defensively, he puts them in very, very difficult positions pretty often, where Vitality have to kind of scramble to get themselves back into the flow, where he'll kind of just miss, or like his positioning will, like a ball will go over his head, and it just like takes them out of their rotation pretty often. And then as a on the offensive end, still an excellent striker. The placement was there throughout most of the series, but his like one-on-one, like his like solo mechanics were gone in a big way in this one. He's kind of just like punting the ball away pretty often. He had a couple where like there's one late, I think in game 7, where, or maybe it was game, I can't remember which game, but there's an opportunity for him to like tie it up late. I think it's at game 5 that we missed. I was talking about Monkey Moon as well, but he has this opportunity to like get a big one, and he has space, and he tries to go for a double touch like across the net, and it just like completely gets away from him, and it was just like very uncharacteristic from Exotik. And I don't know, he's not looking like a very good player. I think if I had to like go through and rank the players from like worst to best, all 6 of them in this series, I think it would be a competition. It would be a conversation for Exotik and Pisky at the bottom, just because Pisky took a little bit to get going. And what about this from Mozzarella, huh? The double demo is just going to completely open up space, and BSK is going to put one away. Yeah, a lot of question marks about Exotik, especially tomorrow. They're playing the winner of Dignitas and Gentlemates. I think that either of those will be tough opponents. I honestly think that, oh my gosh, I thought Mozzarella was going to hit that for a second. I honestly think that Dignitas will be a tougher opponent, just because Dignitas can kind of play that quick style, and they're also really physical, which I think kind of is something that Vitality have kind of struggled with. Like, again, Dignitas can kind of muck it up, and this one is going to find the net. This is that play I was talking about where Monkey Moon just kind of kills the momentum of the ball right there, where it's like, well, I guess that play's over. Exotik leads the way, but like, you know, eye test, not very impressed by him. Pisky all over it defensively, 5 saves, unbelievable. But like we were just watching it, Mozzarella, a huge double demo play to open things up there. And Rusty's just commanding so much respect from what he was able to do mechanically on the ball throughout this series. You really saw Vitality taking an extra beat, giving them extra space. And they kind of allow BSK to like warm up into this series by giving them so much space and respect. But let's hop over to game 7 and give some final thoughts about how the series went and what we should anticipate from these teams moving forward. Champs Field, Monkey Moon point of view, who has changed over, I guess, just like permanently to the Finnick. It's so weird because throughout his whole career, we knew him on the Octane. It's not the same thing, but it's almost like when a player changes their jersey number in the middle of their career. It's like, wow, it's kind of weird. Like, huh, LeBron's not 23 anymore? Okay. And by the way, just as a quick aside, Beast Mode is playing Finnick now too. I don't even know anymore. It seems like just everybody is on the Finnick, where oddly enough, it kind of seemed like everybody was changing back to the Octane, at least in North America there for a second. Look, Champs Field, this is where we kind of separate the men from the boys here. And Vitality have obviously been here many times before. For this BSK roster, not a lot of big game time moments under their belt. as Monkey Moon is going to get us on the board early here, and that's just a defensive lapse there from BSK. Let's watch this back. Pisky's way too far upfield. You can see him here. He's going to have to backflip to get out of it, and Mozzarella and him just leave a huge gap, and that's that's a layup for Monkey Moon there, as they get beat in transition. But not a lot of experience under the cap here for BSK. Um, Pisky, probably the player who's been around the longest here. He was Whiskey Drink a while back, and I think this is his second or third. I think it's his third top 16. I think he had one with like Nordschleife, and maybe one with like Gross Noobs, or it was they got picked up by like a Team Go or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Um, Mozzarella, still a new young French player, and Rusty's. We talked about him at the outset of the video, but he was on that Seleção roster. A lot of buzz, but they weren't able to really get any big results under their belt. As that's just going to be a full fielder to tie things up there for BSK as Zen tries to gamble and ends up paying for it. Um, Vitality are just so hard to pin down, man. I still feel I'll say it again, like the second best team when I just like when I sit down and think about it, they could lose this and I'd still be like, yeah, but like it's Vitality, you know? It's still Zen, Monkey Moon, and Exotic. And one thing that I really noticed from the face cams of this series is Vitality are so serious. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. They're very businesslike. Um, but at the same time, they're like they take it so serious and they're so locked in, that it's almost like, could you guys like loosen up a little bit? You guys seem so tight. Like obviously it's not a good encapsulate, like when they win the series they're like not very happy, and it's like, yeah, you went game 7 against BSK, who you should have run over here as you're trying to secure your first open win of the season. But at the same time, it's like they don't even look at each other during timeouts. They're on boot camp, and it almost seems like they're just all siloed into like 3 completely independent jail cells from one another. Um, and I get it. Like there's so much pressure, and we obviously talked about that before going into Birmingham, and like what happened with Zen from like the one-on-one situation where like he ends up getting emotional on stream, and all the pressure that comes with being Zen, and having the perfect rookie season, and how do you bounce back from that? And now you're playing with 2 world champions, and everybody's saying Monkey Moon and Exotic can't repeat, and there's another one for Monkey Moon as I say his name. Um, and of course, part of that's personality as well, right? Zen, very serious, very locked in. Monkey Moon, very serious, very locked in, easy to tilt. Exotic, somebody who could make the biggest mistake in the world, and you would think that he's just, driving on his way to get groceries. Like he never shows like any negative emotion despite what's happening. I just, despite that, I feel like they just need to loosen up a little bit, as Monkey Moon is just gonna um, take BSK's lunch money right there, as they're gonna turn the ball over, and this one gets out of hand pretty quickly. But I want Vitality to loosen up just 6%. Not 50%, not even 20%. Like how about 4.7%? Could you loosen up a little bit just to like laugh once? It feels like they really like are so intense, and it hurts them sometimes. Um, and I feel like it's the same kind of deal, that leads to them having such a huge block against Carmine Core, where every single time they're so serious and so locked in that it's like, okay, like we're serious, therefore we have to win this one. And when it doesn't go well, I just feel like you accrue that scar tissue, and it leads me back to what we were talking about at the beginning, this difference between choking and panicking. And this BSK team are really good. They're going to get better. Um, I don't think that they're like a top six team in Europe. Um, but if they're gonna show like this, they're basically the boys of Europe, where it's just like, well, this team's younger, so it's not a great comparison, but it's just like dudes hooping. That's all it is. And if you don't show up prepared, they'll take you deep. Deep. Gingy learned that themselves. But I almost forgot to show the scoreboard here. Monkey Moon is gonna handle business and then set down the controller, and give everyone a firm handshake, and then probably sign off. Is Zen facilitating like a madman? Um, Still getting shots up. Look at those shot totals there from BSK. This was not a comfortable win for Vitality by any stretch of the imagination. Tomorrow, I think the bracket breaks where Vitality gets the winner of Gentlemate's Dignitas, and then BSK drop down to play GK, and the winner of that's going to feed into the gauntlet of Carmine Core. So excited to see what we're going to get here out of Europe. Again, a massive showing for BSK. Validation, more up and coming French talent has now been folded into the mix here. And Vitality, you got to get it together. Guys, until next time, thanks for joining me here, and take it easy.